The eco-terrorists destroying lives are at it again, with the Sunday Mirror revealing yesterday that Just Stop Oil is planning Britain's biggest ever campaign of civil disobedience beginning on October the 1st, with thousands blockading Westminster for, quote, week after week in a threat to our democratic system. This is just the start of their campaign to divide Britain. I went to Eastbourne on Friday to discover the mood of the public and Tory voters at the Conservative Party hustings as Liz Truss battles Rishi Sunak to replace Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. But what I actually discovered was far more disturbing: how the extreme activist left intends to plan to use law-breaking and likely violent acts in the run-up to the next general election in their attempts to threaten ordinary folk with whom they disagree and scupper democracy. It's a dark underbelly of this country, largely ignored by the mainstream media, but it goes against British values and the morals of the apparently be kind liberal left. To start with, groups including hard left trade unions, Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil and Green New Deal Rising surrounded the venue to harass and threaten the Tory members attempting to enter the hustings and express their democratic right to elect their next party leader. Watch.
What are you here for?
I'm here to protest this Tory invasion of Eastbourne. We don't want them here. We don't want them here. We don't want their Tory policies anywhere near this country.
The Tories that you undoubtedly support are actually the most criminal government. Calm down, sir. Calm down, please. No, I want you to go. That's not very tolerant of you.
Yes. Why would I need to be tolerant?
But you think Tories, who are British citizens, are invading Eastbourne?
Many protesters suggested the Tories had no right to be in Eastbourne at all, no matter how much of a hypocrite it made them.
Why does your sign say Tories go home?
Because they're not welcome here, just like refugees aren't welcome, nor the Tories.
So you think two wrongs make a right?
You got me on that one.
Now, against that backdrop, union leaders then brought their mob to wreak more havoc just as supporters for Truss and Sunak began to arrive.
You're booing at Tories entering the venue. That feels very intolerant to me.
Good, I'm glad we're booing. We should be booing the Tories. Why is this is not a democratic situation.
Well, these are democratic people.
160,000 elderly white Tories are deciding who is the Prime Minister.
Are you encouraging civil disobedience?
Yes.
Violence?
No.
Riots?
If people riot, I completely understand. I don't understand why riots haven't happened yet.
So there you go. The sense of violence and hatred was palpable, with many local Conservative members coming directly under attack. I think in my infiltration of the hard left extremists, I was most shocked by this exchange with a protest leader and a mum who thought it was appropriate to bring her young daughter into such an environment.
I wish that more people had come to support us, yeah.
Are you worried about bringing a child into this environment?
No, not at all. No one's being aggressive or violent.
No, they are. They're yelling at the people walking in the venue to go home and saying that they shouldn't be allowed in Eastbourne and that they're invading Eastbourne.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's not been any aggression towards... That's not what they're saying.
I've just heard them, ma'am.
No, we're actually saying welcome refugees.
No, that lady there is holding a sign that says Tories go home.
Well, yeah.
No place for a child. Of course, as you probably know by now, the hatred expressed outside the venue soon interrupted the hustings as the Green New Deal Rising members and a Just Stop Oil activist arrested multiple times before caused commotion inside while Liz Truss was speaking after evading Conservative Party checks and security.
Could I just say, Jimmy, that I take it as a compliment that I'm so popular with Extinction Rebellion. there is deliberately disruptive activity, which isn't just about peaceful protests, it's about trying to disrupt, democracy, trying to disrupt people's everyday lives, and I think that is a problem.
So while Truss dealt with the mob spectacularly and actually made me more convinced her response that she should be the next Prime Minister, really, the fact they had trespassed and gained access to the supposedly secure event is a major concern. Now, I tracked the protesters down following their ejection.
You just interrupted the Truss protest. Why did you interrupt Liz Truss tonight?
We interrupted Liz Truss because we are young people who are fed up with 12 years of Tory leadership.
Are you being funded by any organisation, or are you part of any organisation?
I'm here because I'm a young person who's really angry.
How did you get in? Because obviously it's meant to just be Tory party members. Do you think they need to look at their security? Was it difficult to get in?
She's given you an interview, if you wouldn't mind.
Are you glad that you weren't arrested? Can we have a word? Right, which organisation are you a part of? Which organisation are you a part of? Liz Truss suggested that you might be part of the Extinction Rebellion in her speech after, is that correct?
Do you not understand that there's a transition period? We can't overnight go to net zero.
I'm not saying that we have to stop oil and gas right now.
When do you think the UK should become net zero?
Much sooner than 2050, because, if we're looking
And then I presume, given your very well research, you've read the research to say that would absolutely destroy the economy and actually push tens of millions into poverty.
This is the thing, is that I asked you multiple questions and you didn't answer them because I know that you're very well media trained. But
I asked the questions. I think the issue is with organisations like Just Stop Oil, activists like yourself, you're essentially communist.
So it's clear now this campaign of left-wing extremism is going to continue after Truss most likely triumphs, with the police doing nothing to stop the violence and the threats. Eastbourne MP Caroline Ansell was rightly horrified and helpless too.
This is not how my town is. This is not how local people are. As you can see, this is
It's not really the British way, is it?
it's not the rest of British, no.
Rishi supporter Gillian Keegan, the Minister for Care and Mental Health, and Buckingham MP Greg Smith also revealed their concern after the hustings.
It'd be horrible, isn't it, that what folk had to go through just to enter the room tonight?
You go to party conference, right? Every single time we go to party conference. The first time I went to Manchester, I remember us going through and they were spitting at us. They're just badly behaved, poorly brought up, I think. And
the intolerant left.
And they're very intolerant.
These are professional protesters that they tour the country, causing as much disruption to the democratic process, whether it's a general election, council elections, an internal party election, because they can't win on the arguments. They have to try and win on disruption.
So the left like to tell you it's the Tory party that wants to divide the country. But what I saw on Friday night is that there is a highly sophisticated, media-savvy and downright nasty campaign of violence from hard left activists set to attempt to tear Britain apart over the next year. We must wise up to what they're doing, and our police should stop being so pathetic and weak.